Hey there YouTube, NinjaNick333, and I'm bringing you my E-Dragon deck profile. I've basically every single time I've played this I've topped, except for one time I played in the Duelist League we did, but honestly I wasn't even trying. I was letting like kids beat me. It was kind of funny, but otherwise, I think I've only lost like 2 or 3 matches with this, and I've won my locals like 2 or 3 times so far in the last few weeks with this. So basics of it, pretty generic. We've got 2 stream, 3 title, 2 burner, 3 blaster, 2 lightning, 3 tempest, 2 reactin, 3 redox. That's all basically like the E-Dragon or Dragon Ruler part of it. Then I've got a Flamvel Guard, Dragunity Corseska, 3 Max C, 3 Effect Veiler. Whoops. And then I've got, for spells, the 3 Super Rejuve, which I will be extremely surprised if it doesn't get hit on the next ban list, even though they're still trying to sell Dragon Rulers with the next tins. I still think it's going to get hit because, I mean, this deck doesn't even really need it. 2 Gold Sark. I honestly don't like Gold Sark at all, but it's playable, so I use it, I guess. 3 Sacred Swords. Heavy, Card Destruction, and Secret Tech of 2 Forbidden Dress. I'll actually go over the whole reasoning behind everything now. I mean, the whole E-Dragon part, that's pretty generic. A lot of people forget that each of these guys has their own effect. I mean, everybody knows the Blaster one and thinks he's broken and should be banned, which, honestly, I think the Blaster effect I've gotten off twice in the past 3 weeks I've been playing this deck, and I play like 2 or 3 tournaments a week. The Blaster effect it really never happens, because you need Blaster and a Fire. For titles, specialty effect, you need him and a Water. For Tempest, you need him and a Wind. For Redox, you need him and an Earth. So their personal effects don't happen a lot. Honestly, the one I've gotten off the most is probably Tempest. Now, Blaster, pitch him and a Fire, and you get to pop one of your opponent's cards. Okay, so that makes sense. Everybody knows that one. Title, you pitch him and a Water, you get to mill a monster from your deck. Okay, so he's like Foolish Burial. Tempest, you pitch him and a Wind, and you Rhoda a Dragon from your deck. Okay, so he's like Rhoda. Redox, you pitch him and an Earth, which a lot of the times is Max C as the other one, and you can Monster Reborn any monster in your graveyard. Any monster. It doesn't even have to be a dragon. So with Redox, I've brought back things like Crimson Blader, who have been dead. Bring back, you can even bring back Dracosac if you have Dracosac tokens still, if you wanted to. So if he somehow got killed. And well, if you made your second one or whatever. Title, I usually use his effect to put whatever element I don't have into, or what attribute that I don't have into the graveyard. A lot of the times it'll be Blaster or Redox that I don't have. Just so that then I have access to every one, so I can use all of them in a turn if I had to. Tempest, usually when I use his effect I go for Reactin, so I can play Redox in defense. There will be a lot of opening hands where I'll do pitch Tempest and a Wind to Rhoda for Reactin, pitch Tidal and Water to Mill Blaster, activate Reactin to special summon Redox in defense, Super Rejuve for 6, pass turn, he goes back to my hand, I draw, I have 8 cards in all elements. I think it was Dub K Dad who put that on his channel too, so, I mean, that's a pretty generic play for like first turn or whatever. Some people just use that kind of a hand to make double Dracosac, but that's kind of not good, because Dracosac isn't honestly the best card in the extra deck even. I play the guard for synchroing. Obviously, you can synchro with Valor too. Max C, I use more for pitching with Redox or Reactin more than I actually use it for its own effect. But, I mean, its own effect is pretty decent. I play the one Corseska because it's just an extra tuner. I mean, I know it's not as good as Guard, because Guard has 2000 defense. But, I mean, you can search Guard by banishing Blaster, you can search Corseska by banishing Tempest. So it gives you an extra searchable tuner that you can use to make Black Rose or Armory Arm. Then, I mean, Super Rejuve, I mean, you draw a card for each card you discard or tribute. People always forget the tribute one. What I'll do is sometimes I'll be able to Super Rejuve for 6 and still have an E-Drag in my hand. I'll tribute 2 E-Dragons I have to, like, normal set Redox or something stupid like that. So just so I can draw 2 more cards. Like, it's really great. You always, and a lot of times I'll Super Rejuve, draw Super Rejuve, play Super Rejuve, draw Super Rejuve, play Super Rejuve, and I'll have like 20 cards in hand and have to discard a whole crap ton. Like you can see on I think it's Team Tony's, I can't remember the number that comes after it, but it's on my channel on the right side somewhere. Just look for Team Tony's. I played a match against one of them, and I basically drew all but 3 cards in one turn. It was terrible. Honestly, this deck is just way too overpowered, and I didn't realize how overpowered it was until I played it for myself. I mean, the Gold Sark, you can banish like heavy if you're afraid of there are tons of back rows, just so that you can wait 2 turns, because it's easy to wait 2 turns. I haven't actually done that, but you can. Usually I just banish the E-Drag to search to get its baby form, and then discard and summon stuff, and then Super Rejuve. And Sacred Sword, banish your guy, then you draw 2, and then of course you get the search off of the guy you banish. So, but sometimes this is dead, especially if you don't draw the Super Rejuve, so that then your hand is like empty. So then this guy's kind of dead. You have to use an E-Dragon effect to summon it, and then use the Sacred Sword to draw 2, banishing that guy on the field. But then you don't get his search off because you already used an E-Dragon effect, that specific E-Dragon's effect to that turn. I mean, Heavy Storm, obvious. The card destruction, it's kind of like another draw card. I've been saying that this card should have been banned ever since Dark Worlds came out, because even though Dark Worlds is a terrible deck, whenever they card destruction, it's brutal. E-Dragons is even more devastating, because they can just draw this in their opening hand, go card destruction. You pitch your whole hand away, you draw a whole new hand, and remember, the graveyard is the E-Dragon's second hand. So basically, this card just says, have 2 hands on first turn. Plus, then you pitch away whatever your opponent started with, so they're like 5 cards down for nothing. Yeah, so basically card destruction was like, so let's see, your opponent loses 5 cards for you playing 1, so that's a +4, plus you draw a new hand of probably 5 cards, so that's a +9. Card destruction's like a +9 in this deck. It's really stupid. And then the 2 dress is because when I was playing this on DN, before I actually created it, there were countless numbers of times when Draco Sack was bottomless, when it was compulsed, like stuff like that. So I have dress for the instances where it would be destroyed by a card effect. I mean, it's not going to save you against compulse unless you play this before they target you with compulse, but then again, they can just chain the compulse. But honestly, every time I have Forbidden Dress, it's like a lifesaver. It's ridiculously good in this deck, I think. Even more so than in others. So now we get to the extra deck. I've got 2 Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosic, or Dracosac. I like calling him Dracosac. I know that's not how you pronounce him, but he's really sacky. I only play 2 because there's really no need for a third. I don't know why people always play 3, but I mean, I happened to come across one when Tyler pulled it in his box, and I found one online for 80, so I kind of got lucky in that aspect. But you can detach material to make 2 tokens. You can use those tokens to pop things, and then you can use the tokens to sync with your tuners. The tokens, as long as they're on the field, Dracossack can't be destroyed. So it's really overpowered. Then I've got number 74, Master of Blades. He's so powerful, he was banned at Nats. As I keep telling people, technically it wasn't banned. The number 100 set came out like the day of pre-registration or something for Nats. So, or something stupid like that. So, the set, it would have been too short of notice to get these cards for the tournament, so they basically banned the whole set. But honestly, this is why, because this would have been like a $200 card the weekend of that tournament. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets this face-up card, you can detach a material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you destroy one other card on the field. So basically, let's say you go to compulse him. He detaches. You chain another compulse. He detaches again. He negates the first compulse, blows up something, then he negates the second compulse and blows up something else. Because he can do that. He can multi-trigger, and well, he can trigger more than once in the same chain, which is pretty ridiculous. Then there's times when my opponent goes to bottomless, which does not target, but it does say destroy. So you dress him. And there's times when I just want to pop their back row, so I'll dress him, use his own effect to negate Forbidden Dress, and then pop their back row. That's another way Forbidden Dress comes in really useful in this deck. Then I've got 2 Big Eye. Again, there's never a need for a third, so never play 3. Detach material, steal one of their monsters. It's really naughty in E-Dragon Mirrors when you steal their E-Dragon and use that to overlay with, and then you just never detach it. So it's like they're down a whole dragon, which is funny. Gaia Dragon, because he pierces, and he's rank 7, so why not? Abyssgaios, because you can make him with 2 titles, and he's naughty. While he's on the field, level 5 or higher monsters can't attack. That includes your own. And then you can detach material to negate the effects of all monsters that have less attack than him, basically. So he's like walking skill drain that you can trigger whenever. Then I play last card in the Xyz is number 7, Lucky Street. I've actually gotten his effect off a bunch of times. You detach material, you can use his effect more than once per turn. So it's 3 level 7s. Detach material, roll a 6-sided die twice, or you could just roll 2 6-sided dice once, which is what I do. His attack becomes the higher number rolled times 700. So if you roll a 6 as one of them, it's 4,200 attack points. If you roll a 2, he's 1,400. Like stuff like that. If the 2 numbers you rolled add together to equal 7, you can either send all other cards on the field to the graveyard, or you can special summon a monster from your hand or either player's graveyard. And then the other one is, third effect is Graceful Charity. Draw 3 and then discard 2. So obviously in this deck, most of the time you pick Graceful Charity, because you draw 3 and then discard 2. It doesn't matter that you discarded 2, because this is E-Dragons, you have 2 hands. Sending everything else on the graveyard is awesome. It gets rid of Zenmains and Gotchis and all that other crap. Monster Reborning, whatever you want, is amazing. So yeah, it's actually not that hard to roll a 7, because I forgot what the probability is, but I want to say 7 is the easiest number to roll with 2 dice. I could be wrong on that, though, because I may have gotten an A in statistics, but probability is probably not my strong suit. But he's just nutty. And you can use his effect 3 times in a turn. So you fail to roll 7 the first time, you can try again. You fail to roll 7 that time, you can try again. Even if you do roll 7, try again. A lot of the times when I roll 7, it's a 6 and a 1, so I don't have to use his effect anymore that turn. Then we get to the synchros. We've got Crimson Blader. If he destroys a monster by battle, your opponent can't special summon or normal summon level 5 or higher monsters for their next turn. So you destroy their monster by battle. If you're facing E-Dragons, they can't summon anything. If you're doing it while you're facing Mermails, they can't summon anything. While you're doing it while you're playing Malefic, Gravekeeper, Dino Rabbit, Anti-Meta Clusterfuck, you can stop them from playing their Cyber Ends and stuff. It's pretty fun. Colossal Fighter, because there's a lot of decks that I play at my locals that have warriors. So this, he gains 100 attack for any warrior in either player's graveyard. Yes, he can be boosted by the Crimson Blader, who's also a warrior. He's also dark, so he's an Eradicator target. Red Dragon Archfiend, because he is a 3,000 attacking dragon, who's dark, so he's an Eradicator target. Scrap Dragon, because you can choose to pop Dracosack while you have Dracosack tokens out, or the Mecha Phantom Beast tokens out, I should say. And it will try to destroy Dracosack. It will not succeed, because Dracosack cannot be destroyed while you have a token, but your opponent's monster still is destroyed. Amazing. Then we've got Black Rose Dragon. By the way, these are 8s, so you sync an E-Dragon with any of your tuners. This is 2 of your Mecha Phantom Beast tokens with any of your tuners. You can basically bomb the field if you have Dracosack out. Like, I will make Dracosack, then summon Valor, sing for Black Rose, just blow up the whole field, and then make another Dracosack in the same turn. I've done it. It's really douchey. You can also blow up the field with Black Rose, and then you can dress your Black Rose. Black Rose doesn't say you tribute it to destroy all monsters on the field. It says destroy all cards on the field when it's summoned, if you choose to activate that effect. So its effect is destroying it. So if you dress it, it's not destroyed by its own effect, but it still destroys everything else. There was a time where I went dress on Black Rose and then dress on Dracosack, so I saved both of them and blew up everything else. It was pretty hilarious. Then Ancient Sacred Wyvern is 2 Mecha Phantom Beast tokens and a Valor. You have to do Valor because it says Light Tuner. It gains attack points equal to the difference between you and your opponent's life points if yours are higher. It loses attack points equal to the difference between you and your opponent's life points if your life points are lower. So obviously it's like a win more card. Let's say your opponent upstarted you twice, because this is an actual thing that happened. Your opponent upstarts you twice, they're still at 8,000, so you're at 10,000. Make this. He's at 4,100. You attack them. He's now at 8,200. And then lastly, Armory Arm, because a tuner and 1 Mecha Phantom Beast token can make him. Then you can equip this to like your Dracosack so that he's like a big attacker, or if you wanted to play like 2 Colossal Fighters, if you play the whole Chalice thing to make them bigger kind of thing, you can Colossal Armory Arm or whatever. I forgot how that goes. You can also do the whole Max C deck out thing where they Max C, and then you attack with Colossal Fighter into their Chaliced guy, and then he comes back, and then you can attack again and basically win by making them deck out. That one doesn't involve Armory Arm, but... And then we've got side deck. I've got an Obelisk just because I love Obelisk. Honestly, I don't really play him that much. Then I've got 2 Tsukiyomis to flip down things like Malefic Cyber End or Ophion, stuff like that, to get rid of them. Then I've got Dark Hole, because, you know, it's Dark Hole. The 3 MSTs, because there's just those times you need MSTs. And then 2 Twisters, basically as extra MSTs, because Necro Valley is a card, and I don't like it. 3 Royal Decrees, because my meta is really back row heavy. We've got like black wings and stuff, and it's annoying. Well, like black wings and heroes and gravekeepers and malefic cyber crap. They all play traps. And then eradicators. Basically was the only reason I beat spellbooks. 3 weeks in a row? 2 weeks? I think I beat him 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, he didn't play last Saturday. But basically, game 1 was back and forth for like the whole entire time, but he barely squeaks out the win. And then games 2 and 3, I open Eradicator and just use it. And he couldn't come back. I feel terrible about using Eradicator, but it is a card. I honestly hate it. And this is the primary reason why I don't even like playing this deck half the time. Because I will Eradicator, and as you can see in the duel against me versus my friend Brian, who had the 3-axis Fire Fist, he opened a hand of Solemn Warning, and then the rest were spells, including stuff like Monster Reborn. I Eradicator, call spells. There goes all his hand, and then he has the Solemn Warning set, so then I just go Heavy Storm and to get rid of that. And basically, there was no coming back for him. And I felt terrible, but this is Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's what you do. And then just for my tokens for Draco Sack, I have 3 of them, because there are times when I have 3. Of 1, because I popped 1 last turn, and then retributed or whatever. And then I have 2 from making the new ones that turn, basically. So I usually use these 2 first, because I like them best. Kerwin's Game Store, because that's my locals. This is actually like a Magic business card. You flip it over, and it's got like their info on it, which is cool. I just put it on the Token Stampede, just so that it has some support behind it. But there's that. Then the token from when I went to the YCS Providence, and then a token I had made at YCS Providence. I'm pretty sure I showed this before, but there's me and Akiza, my girlfriend. She's not your girlfriend, Nick. Shut up! Shut up! I know that! Alright, so that's it for the deck profile. E-Dragons is way overpowered. I want them to get hit on the ban list, even though I'm playing them, because they're just a terrible thing to have ever been created. And they probably won't, because Konami needs to sell the tins. So I'll see you guys later. Oh, and I almost forgot, but the way that I keep track of how I could, because every E-Dragon you can only use one of their effects per turn. So what I do is I have lands and energies from Magic and Pokemon. They each say the name of their E-Dragon that they go with. So we've got Tidal Stream, Tempest, Lightning Blaster, Burner, Redox, Reactant. So whenever I use one of the, let's say I use Tempest's Rhoda effect. Now I know I can no longer use any effect of Tempest that turn. Then let's say I pitch Burner in something. And let's say finally I use Redox and pitch Max C to reborn that Tempest that's now in the graveyard. Okay, well I used those 3 this turn. Then I pass, and we untap everything, and we know we're good for that next turn. So, everyone who plays with or plays against E-Dragons should definitely be keeping track of when they use their effects, because once they use one effect, you cannot use another, and that is very important to know. Especially if you're playing against it and you really hate the deck, this is the way you beat them. You make sure you know whose effect has been activated when. Make some way, keep track of it on your life points, on your little piece of paper even, because you need to keep track of this. Because they most likely, if they don't track it themselves, they might forget. I've seen it happen. I've forgotten myself, even with the markers. As you can see in my duel against Brian, I forgot to mark the blaster when I used its effect when it was banished. Then I used its own effect to special summon it from the graveyard. So, you gotta make sure they do that. But, I mean, anybody can feel free to copy this idea, because I thought it was pretty funny and cool. I'd use Kaijudo cards, but I mean they're worth so much awesomeness that I would not want to deface them. I'm just going to deface the games I don't like as much. Though I do like these two games. I do play them very, very casually. But anyway, these are like 2-cent cards. Now it's really bye. Bye.